Hey guys, I'm Brian on YouTube at New Life Recovery. Today we're talking about the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion. And we'll talk more about self-compassion in the next video, but I do want to say if you are not familiar with Dr. Kristen, is it Kristen or Christine? Dr. Kristen Neff, N-E-F-F. I encourage you to check her out. I've been watching some of her videos, and like any good counselor would do, I stole her material and have been teaching it to my members, but definitely encourage you to check her out. She has got some great stuff on self-compassion and very, very worthwhile. So we think about self-esteem. We know that self-esteem is healthy. Having a good self-esteem is healthy. We know that people who have high self-esteem are they have less depression, have less anxiety, have less anger. We know that people with a high sense of self-esteem do better at work, are more successful overall. We know that people who have high self-esteem are often healthier in relationships, relationships with their significant others, but even relationships at work and at home, with your children, with your parents, in your neighborhood. But there's also a potentially a downside to self-esteem. And that's what I want to talk about today in this video. And we'll talk a little bit more about self-compassion in the next one. But this idea of self-esteem, it's good and it's helpful. However, sometimes what you and I will do is we will try to build our self-esteem based on our culture's values. And that can be dangerous. Let me give you some examples. Our culture says that you're valuable if you're rich and famous. You're valuable if you have, a great relationship. You're valuable, the more schooling you have, the more valuable you are. The more name brand stuff you have, the more valuable you are. So, for example, if I were to marry, um, beautiful young woman, we get married, we're happy, based on the value of our culture, my self-esteem goes through the roof. Why? Because I married this beautiful young woman. And so my self-esteem is through the roof. I'm doing great. But what happens if, God forbid, there's a fallout in our relationship and um, my wife and I split up? Well, now my self-esteem goes way down. Why? Because it was based on that value of our culture. And so I had self-esteem because my wife, I was married to this beautiful young woman. Another example, so proud of my son. He gets into an Ivy League college on this great football scholarship or soccer scholarship, whatever the case may be. And, he's doing great. I'm so excited. My self-esteem is through the roof because of my son and his achievements. But before he starts college, he gets into a little bit of trouble with the law. He's found with a little bit of weed on him, and he loses his Ivy League scholarship. Now my self-esteem goes down because it's based on, um, you know, the values of the world. So if we base our self-esteem on what the world values, our self-esteem is going to go like this, up and down. Sometimes I'm feeling great about myself. Sometimes I'm feeling not so great about myself. So the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion, or at least one of the differences, self-compassion would say that I'm okay and that's okay. See, our culture says that you've got to be the best, you know. I'm reminded of a t-shirt that I saw that said, the world's okayest guitar player. The world's okayest guitar player. That's funny because what we expect it to say is world's best guitar player. But the truth is, I'm okay, and that's okay. I'm not the best guitar player in the world. But self-compassion meets you in that place and says, and that's okay. And I'm not saying that you don't make goals and you don't strive to be a better person and create a better version of yourself. That's what we need to be doing. But this is where I'm at right now, and that's okay. Let me tell you, and I know we're going long here at the 5 minute mark. Um, let me give you an example of my motorcycle. My motorcycle is a CBR 500R. So if you don't know, it's a sport bike, what we used to call a crotch rocket, but it's small. It's only a 500. When you think of a CBR, you usually think of a 650 or a 1000. Those are a lot faster than my bike. And so I've literally told people I have a CBR 500, and they'd said to me this, "Oh, get a real bike." Um, you know, my bike's fast. I'm a heavy guy, and my bike will go 100 miles an hour with me on it. But it's not a 650. It's not 1,000 or 1,100. And believe me, I would like that bike. But our culture is so um, based on this hierarchy that someone said to me, "You don't have a real bike. Get a real bike because it's not the best." So how about this? I'm okay, and that's okay. My bike is okay, and that's okay. Got a guitar hanging here on my wall. It's an Epiphone Les Paul. Uh, and someone would say, "Oh yeah, but it's not a Gibson Les Paul." Right? It's okay, and that's okay. I live in the house that I live in. It's okay, and that's okay, guys. That kind of self-compassion. Um, you stop comparing yourself to the world. You just say, I'm okay, and that's okay. And again, I'm not saying, um, I'm not saying that, um, now my cat's crying to get in, which is funny because I stopped the other video because she was crying to get out. So she's just gonna have to cry. Um, um, all right, let me close with this. What are some of the cultural values that you allow to affect your self-esteem? And I'll go first and say this. Um, I'm overweight and I don't like it. I got that old man fat underneath my chin and I hate it. Um, Ever since I've been working from home, I sit in front of a computer all day and I see myself and I see that I'm getting bigger and bigger. Um, you know, and that's where I could practice this. I'm okay and that's okay. Not to say that I'm not going to continue to set goals and try to improve myself, but self-compassion meets you where you are right now and says, I'm okay and that's okay. Until next time, I know we went long here, but I appreciate you guys. I love you. God bless you, and we will see you next time.